everybody. My name is 𝐃𝐨𝐧'𝐭. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist in the state of California and Wisconsin. And this is my podcast where I meet fellow clinicians all over the country and learn about the work that they do and hopefully kind of pull back the curtain a little bit for the people listening about what this work entails and why we do what we do. To that end, I have somebody that I'm just meeting, Drew. So, Drew, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself to the audience, kind of your niche, where you were located, kind of the basic logistical or high level kind of information.
For sure. Yeah. What's going on, everybody? My name is Drew. I'm an LCSW. I'm fully licensed in North Carolina, and my other license is actually just about to expire in Colorado. I'm actually still deciding if I should renew that or not. I'm leaning towards no, just because I'm fully embraced my North Carolina home. So,
Or
uh, but yeah, still debating that. But I'm located outside of Raleigh. I currently work at a group private practice in Wake Forest. And I would say that my niche right now is probably primarily current and former athletes, predominantly adolescents between the ages of 14 and 19 right now.
okay.
I would also say college students. And one niche I'm also kind of getting more and more referrals from is like working on attachment and people recently getting married, maintaining marriages, or recently getting separated, divorced too.
Yeah, those kind of phase
Yeah,
of life
yeah,
times for sure.
yeah. So adjustment periods.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
definitely they bring up a lot for people for sure.
yeah.
Um, just out of curiosity, are you from Colorado, or how is it that you also have a Colorado license?
Yeah, so I'm actually originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Oh,
So I grew up there for most of my life. Went to school in Erie, Pennsylvania, undergrad and my graduate, and then moved back to Pittsburgh for a while, and then moved from Pittsburgh to Colorado.
okay.
And then yeah, my wife went to school out in Colorado, so we lived out for there for a couple of years, and so I got fully licensed out there, and then I transferred my Colorado license to North Carolina about 6 years ago, and yeah, here I am now.
Yeah. And whereabouts in Colorado? I lived in Boulder for a brief minute, so
Yeah.
familiar with
Okay.
the area.
Yeah. Right outside of Boulder and Longmont.
Oh, yeah, very familiar. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great place. I'm a big fan. I haven't actually been to Raleigh though, but I got to put it on the list because having met you and Brittany now, I know a couple people that are there, and I'm assuming
Yeah.
you enjoy Raleigh in the area.
Yeah. I really like Raleigh. We just had our first snow. I mean, schools closed for Monday and Tuesday this past week, and we probably got maybe a quarter inch. And I'm being generous with that quarter inch. But yeah, it is yeah, the entire town definitely shuts down when there's even a threat of snow, which is definitely very different than Colorado and Pittsburgh.
Sure. Yeah. Colorado,
Yeah,
they're like, figure it out.
exactly. Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, so let's dive into a little bit of your therapy journey. So, what
Yeah,
made you decide to become a clinician? Why did you go down this path in the first place?
that's a good question. It's kind of a long-winded answer. So I originally went to school for exercise science. I wanted to be a strength and conditioning coach or go down the route of being a PT.
Mhm.
And yeah, I just realized I was getting pretty bad grades. I didn't really care about it as much as I thought it was, as much as I thought I did. And so then I switched actually to religious studies. And so I wanted to be a religion teacher. And then I maintained that, but then I also added social work. Graduated with a double major in social work and religion. And then I graduated college. I had an offer actually to go teach religion at a Catholic school. Got the offer and I was like, this is poverty line. I can't live like that. And so then I actually became a ski guide for a while. I was a ski guide, and then I also did bar trivia. I would sell programs of bar trivia to different restaurants
Huh?
and programs and things of that nature. And then I was like, I woke up one day and I was like, well, I can't do both these jobs for the rest of my life. And uh, I got into grad school and yeah, did a couple of internships, graduated, worked down in Colorado, and yeah, here I am now. Yeah.
Quite the path.
Yeah, yeah. It was I don't know. I didn't know that I wanted to be a therapist probably until I got into my current private practice.
Uh-huh. It was kind of a later revelation for you.
100% definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I talk to people on this who are like, oh, I knew when I was in high school or whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
very different path, it sounds like for you.
Yes. Yeah, definitely a very different path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the bar trivia. That's so random. And who doesn't love a good bar trivia night? It must be fun to
Exactly.
come up with those questions and
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, but like I said, it's not a career.
fair, fair enough, fair enough.
Yeah.
So what do you like about the current profession that you're in? What do you like about being a clinician?
Yeah. Um I love So I actually, I was just talking about this the other day. I would definitely say that I am, as far as being like on the introvert extrovert spectrum, I lie more towards being an extrovert. So I love talking to people. I really enjoy that. I notice that like even for me, I get my energy from that too.
Yeah.
I love my caseload. Uh, I think I've developed enough in my career that I can decide like who's a good fit, who's not a good fit, like who I'm specifically marketing to and things like that. Um, and I think really enjoy my career development as far as like I'm never really necessarily bored. Like this week, I've done a lot of like kind of kinesiology research, like muscle skeletal uh, research as far as like what it looks like breathing with your diaphragm and pyro breathing rather than just going over like simple box breathing. And that's been very interesting to see. Currently going through EMDR, so yeah, I would say kind of like all of those just kind of mixed together.
Hmm. And what did you say? Pyro breathing?
Yeah,
I've never
pyro
heard that.
breathing.
Yeah, what is that?
Um, uh, So actually, my personal PT had actually just sent it to me as far as ultimately it's learning to breathe with your diaphragm
Okay,
rather than using like your stomach or your chest of being able to get your like rib core muscles to utilize for breathing
okay,
versus how have we compensated our bodies through just like abnormal breathing.
sure.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. Is it hard for people to learn that, or is it
Yeah.
relatively? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It sounds cumbersome, or like
Yeah.
it would take some really getting in touch with your body and how it's moving.
For sure. Yeah, I'm kind of at the beginning stages of learning, but it's fascinating so far. And I don't know, I think it's also different. I One thing about me is I'm tired of hearing the same thing or saying the same thing over and over again.
I get that.
Um
Real.
yeah. So it's definitely a big trigger for me if I'm having a consult with a therapist and they just say, "Oh, well, have you taught them box breathing?" Um and it's just yeah, it just drives me up a wall. So, like this stuff is new, it's exciting, it's evidence-based. So, yeah,
Yeah, fair. Okay, well, to that end, what kind of modalities when you're working? It sounds like you mostly work with individuals, but do you also work with couples and families, or mostly individuals?
yeah, it's 100% individuals.
Okay.
I did couples actually during COVID, and I actually found that I felt like I wasn't good at it, and I wasn't having a lot of good retention. I eventually found that I didn't really enjoy it anymore. I
Mhm.
had gone from in person to COVID, and so I was seeing mostly couples on like online, and it just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
So now I just see people 100% individually.
Hmm. Yeah, fair. I think it's one of those things that we all have to figure out, like where our strengths are
Yeah.
in terms of which modalities. Like when I first started, I wasn't really working with couples, and then I ended up realizing like I do really well with couples, and I was like, all right,
Yeah.
I guess I gotta incorporate it, but I was gonna just be like you and do individuals only.
Yeah.
So totally get it. We gotta figure out where our strengths lie, certainly. Um, what kind of modalities do you work with? I mean, you're talking about breathing, so I'm assuming there's some
Mhm.
mindfulness there, but what other kind of modalities or things do you pull from? You mentioned EMDR.
Yeah, I'm currently going through the EMDR training. I'm using EMDR skills, not kind of like not I'm not 100% certified or trained just yet.
Mhm.
So I'm incorporating some skills in that as far as like the EMDR container, um, and a little bit of titrations and tapping right now. But I would say it's kind of a mix between CBT, ACT, and DBT. I would say like that's kind of like the biggest core that I go to right now. I would say more than anything, I would say ACT is probably my number one go-to.
Hmm. Hmm. I've had other people that have done ACT a little bit, but on the podcast. But would you, just for the audience that might be listening to this and haven't heard those, have a little bit
Yeah.
of flavor of what is that?
For sure. Yeah, so acceptance and commitment therapy. Basically what that is and I also use like CBT, so like the cognitive behavioral triangle, like cognitive behavioral therapy.
Mhm.
It's very similar to that, but basically, for example, let's say we have an intrusive thought of for ACT, how do we have that thought, and then how do we have our brain or our mind, and then create distance between the thought and becoming an observer versus CBT is being super close between you and that thought and reframing that thought um, and being able to continue to like cope with that thought by looking at it differently when ACT is increasing distance, becoming an observer, and also um, uh, increasing your tolerance towards the discomfort of potentially experiencing that thought too.
Yeah. Yeah, I always think too, ACT work is very values driven. So
Yeah, for sure.
what do you value? And I think the data point that you're kind of talking about too, it's helpful if you get distance from it because then you can tie in, well, where are my values coming in? Am I aligning with them? That kind
Right.
of aspect.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Um, so what would a like typical session look like? Like, is it very structured or is it more organic?
No, it is not structured. And I find that especially with my clientele, like the adolescents and young adults truly appreciate that too.
Mhm.
Um, I will say I'm not afraid to ask questions of things that have come up in the past or things of just like a continuous conversation of where we picked up from last time too. Um, and I think something that's also very different about me than other therapists is that I love small talk. Um, Small talk at the first 5 minutes. My office is upstairs, so I go downstairs into the waiting room, grab the patient, and I come back up. And probably for the first 5 minutes, I want to make sure that it's about small talk because small talk's a bridge to being able to um, uh, access deeper narratives within their or certain points in their life too, right? And so I'll often refer back to that small talk, whether it is like 3 sessions later, I'll go back to be like, well, you remember when you had mentioned this of what you did over the weekend too. Um, so yeah, so I would say uh first 5 minutes is small talk, and then I kind of open up the gates of being like, well, I know we were talking about this last session. Um, would you want to continue that conversation or we can navigate something different today too. Um, and then we get into it.
Mhm. Yeah, I love the framing of that as a bridge because I do think it can be a little intimidating, right? So I consider it
Yeah.
like I think of it more like a menu. Like I start kind of just getting people comfortable and then I give them a kind of menu of like we can go this way, we could go this way, you know,
Yeah.
from what you're saying. Is there anything else that's coming up for you? but the having that small talk and it kind of puts people at ease of like, how's your day going? How was, traffic getting here? What was, just kind of the basic weather.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love there's like a quote, I think it was like, gosh, I'm totally gonna blank on who it was, but some famous author wrote like, don't knock the weather, otherwise people wouldn't have anything to talk about. It's true.
True.
Right. We even started out our conversation earlier with weather, right?
Right, exactly.
Okay, is there anything in therapy that still kind of surprises you or catches you off guard?
Yeah, especially when um, transference and countertransference, and when a client asks me a question, I 9 times out of 10, I still feel caught off guard. Um,
Like about you personally?
yeah, about me personally, or even if they're getting, I know what their angle is as far as like the normalization
Sure.
of it being of like this past week, a client was talking about their engagement, and then he was like, "Well, how did you propose? Like, did you get a photographer? Did you do all this planning and things like that?" Um, and at first I was like, "Is this appropriate for me to share? And who am I specifically sharing it for? Like for me or for them, right?" And
Yep.
but so yeah, so that's one thing that continues to surprise me. More so, I guess, my response, but also just like the types of questions that people will ask too.
hmm hmm so the topic of transference and countertransference actually hasn't come up once so far in this podcast, so it's
Wow.
surprising.
Yeah.
But could you just kind of talk to that, what those are, so that people know kind of what we're talking about here, or what we're referencing? Because I'm sure they
Yeah.
probably felt it.
Right. So transference, I always get them confused. Transference is how the client is how the client views the therapist, and countertransference is how the therapist is viewing the patient too,
Yes.
right? I think obviously this space is non-judgmental, and we kind of attempt to create a non-biased space,
hmm
but it's also really difficult to abstain from certain thoughts, right? Because we're all human.
Yep.
So it's easy. And now that we have a name to it, it's easy to access too,
hmm
as far as like the transference and the countertransference too.
Yeah, exactly. So sometimes the way I think about this is like a client might see me as like a sister type, or like
Yeah,
somebody that they knew that I remind them of, or a parent or whatever. And
yeah,
so they're kind of transferring some of that energy or what they feel about that to the relationship. And then similarly, we clinicians, right, have that same kind of because we're human, we have there's definitely people I talk to that I'm like, oh gosh, you remind me just of my sister, or
yeah,
like, there's some
right,
sort of dynamic there that I'm like, and you have to be really mindful as a clinician that that's not, to your
yeah,
earlier point of like, is this for me? Is this for the person? Um,
right,
and there's different reasons why you would share or why you wouldn't share, and what that means for, you know, the therapeutic relationship. It's a lot
yeah,
more complicated and messy than people, I think it is, at least in our minds, in terms of figuring out what to say or not to say when we get
yeah.
to some of those questions.
Absolutely. And it's especially, I mean, therapy is such a gray area too, right? And not every answer is going to be the same for each client that, of it being appropriate or inappropriate to explore that transference and countertransference too. And it's going to be different methods for each client too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Well, thank you for speaking to that. That's when you said it, I was like, oh my gosh, nobody's talked about this. And it's such an
Oh, nice.
important
Man, I'm a
piece
little
of what
surprised
we
by that.
do.
Yeah.
Okay, are there things, I mean, maybe this is the last question as well, a little bit, but are there things you wish people knew or understood about therapy or the therapeutic process?
Hmm. Do I, what do I wish that people understood? Um, I think it's very common to get it confused between just the process of externalizing. I think people think that it's just a space to talk about your feelings, and then that's it.
Hmm.
Um, that usually there's a process that's required, but behind it.
Hmm.
And I think for people who don't have a lot of knowledge on therapy or what they get or what it looks like getting into, um, I think people are surprised by that.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So I wish that there was a little bit more education about like what therapy entailed um and I think we just kind of like get that from media and but I think there's also been a big ever since COVID there's been a boom of therapy and like self-care, self-help and maybe a little bit more of an accurate portrayal. But I still feel like there's some areas that uh people could improve in as far as educating themselves.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't disagree. I think some of the stuff in the media too, or some of these maybe big box companies or something that make it feel like there's a quick fix to therapy. Like there's a,
Yeah.
like, oh, you do 8 sessions and then and eight
Yeah.
sessions might be great for somebody, but it might not be for somebody else, right? It's more of a kind of dance or a balance that you're trying to figure out, how to help this person in front of you. And that looks a little different. The process is going to look a little different. Maybe they have depression versus anxiety versus a
Yeah.
phase of life thing. There's a number of contexts that are going to impact that is kind of what I'm taking your answer to be, of like there's
Definitely. Yeah.
nuances there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Um, one question too. Do you find since you work with adolescents, it is a harder niche
Yeah.
in some ways. And I'm just wondering, could you speak to that a little bit? Like, what kind of differences do you see? Because it sounds like you work with adolescents all the way up through adulthood.
Yeah.
Um, what do you see as kind of the different challenges or like ways that you kind of have to adapt practices? You kind of mentioned earlier some of the, things that younger people expect a little bit more organic, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Are there other ways that you notice differences between kind of younger generations, populations that you work with versus the older ones?
Yeah. I think one caveat that I always say at the beginning of my sessions, especially if the teenager does not want to be there, I
Hmm.
make sure I look mom or dad and the patient in the eyes and say, I'm not in the business of helping people who don't want help. And I want to be respectful of their time, and I also want to be respectful of my time too.
Yeah.
So I immediately build that boundary. And then I say, I encourage everybody to at least try this 3 times. You came today, let's try again next time, and then we'll try again for the following time.
Hmm.
Um, and we'll see how it goes. And if you're not feeling it, then we'll revamp. And if that needs a referral or whatever that might look like too. So especially, and it's usually like parents either assuming like, oh, my kids are experiencing a mental health symptom,
Hmm.
but usually it might be a little bit more behavioral than anything, uh, and feeling that, oh, they just need a place to talk. But a lot of teenagers will be like, I don't really necessarily need to be here right now. Um,
Fair.
and especially as a guy, I get that a lot of moms or dads bringing their adolescent boys in and saying, my kid is lethargic, my kid is moody, my kid is defensive. He goes to school late. I caught him smoking weed the other day, and immediately go, oh, I need to take him to therapy, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, and and I think and they're also kind of looking for that quick fix or to tell me a little bit about what's the underlying issue with my kid right now too.
Sure.
So versus girls, I think it's different because there's more, I think just in general with that gender, there's more of a willingness to be like, okay, it's normal for me to go to therapy. It's convenient for me to talk about vulnerability, my emotions, the whole 9 yards. And statistically, like women will stay in therapy much longer than men, and it's culturally a little bit more acceptable, right?
Yeah.
So I think I think I learned how to kind of like dismantle that, and especially in the intake of how do I send a message of being like it's okay that we can continue that for guys, we can talk about sports, fishing or hunting as much as you want in here because that's still a part of mental health,
Mm,
right?
yep.
And for girls, like if they want to talk about like how much they hate their ex, that's all right too.
Sure. The whole
Yeah.
spectrum.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a big spectrum of that. So yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think I definitely I have one little follow-up. So you mentioned the difference between like behavioral versus mental health. Certainly behavioral is
Yeah.
part of mental
Yeah.
health, but say a parent comes in and it's clearly more of like behavioral issue than, like some
Right.
anxiety or an ADHD diagnosis or something like that that might be more intensive. What do you do with that? Like what do you just kind of give some behavioral tools to engage
Yeah.
or
Yeah. I also kind of say like it's is a higher level of care required too, as far as if there is some type of excessive substance use as far as behavioral. And I think like educational and school-based too, of a lot of I mean, it is a measure of mental health of like grades, attendance, and things like that. But what other resources have the parents exhausted to making sure that the kid is going to school? And I think just even parenting strategies too, of like what is the parent doing as on their end to making sure that their kid is getting to school on time.
hmm Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a whole family system there that has to kind of be
exactly.
supporting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think sometimes like they people seek individual therapy when it should be family therapy.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, or both.
hmm Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair. Fair.
Um,
Okay, so final question, kind of in this more clinical space. Is there
yeah.
a tool that we could share with the audience that you use or that you would say like it's useful for people, to do? Just general tool.
Hmm. Okay. Um, let's do like an act meditation of something that I'll just kind of earlier as far as like what's our goal is to eventually like build distance. How do we become an observer of our thoughts while holding our values intact too,
Mhm.
right? So a visualization aspect that I'll do is let's picture your mind and let's picture your brain and we'll visualize what an intrusive thought looks like too. So
Okay.
we're building our house and we're building a brain just the same way we're building a house. We construct a house, we put a bunch of homemade furniture in there, we have paintings up, we might have a fireplace, we have a TV somewhere, right? And whatever you want in your house. And then you're having your house party, right? You're having your first party at your house. Um, and so you got dip out, you got chips, you got snacks, drinks, everything like that. And then all of a sudden the guests come in, and the guests are these intrusive thoughts. Um, the first intrusive thought comes in, it's actually not that bad. The intrusive thought might be, oh, don't forget to do your notes today, but we think about that every day. It's doing your notes. Um, let's say that's just a normal part of your thinking, a normal part of your rhythm. So they go ahead, they might grab a drink, they might go sit down on the couch. Let's say another thought walks in and be like, remember when that patient wrote that bad review about you? Um, and that thought impacting the way that you're going to treat your patients for the rest of the day too. Or that's a very dismantling, disturbing, distressful thought, right?
Mhm.
But a thought can also just be a thought, not a threat. And so we acknowledge that thought. They come in, we say hi, we give them a hug, we shake their hand. But it doesn't mean that they have to stay. We can go ahead, we can take them out into the exit door, right? And so then they're out of our house.
Mhm.
And so I think like when we're in that spiral of and being able to like imagine that and of doing that visualization exercise of like what an intrusive thought is and kind of replaying that script in our mind of a thought can just be a thought, not a threat, um, it's a little bit easier to cope with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love the analogy. I think it's great. I think it's
Yeah.
I'm totally gonna use that. That's good.
Yeah. Thank
It's
you.
a great way to kind of picture it. You know, it's funny, like where my mind went is are you familiar with the Harry Potter, stuff, general?
I
No?
have actually never read or
Watched
saw
it.
a movie of Harry Potter. I know. A lot of people make fun of me because of that.
Yeah, I would imagine too the population you work with, they probably talk about Harry Potter a lot.
Yeah.
Come up. Anyways, there's like one spell they do where it's like the scariest thing that you can think of, you make
Yeah.
it ridiculous. And so like a spider now has like gosh, what is it? Wheels. What are the roller skates? It's got like roller skates
Mm.
on all it. So now it's like ridiculous and falling all over the place. It's kind of like
Yeah.
it reminds me of so you're kind of like
Yeah.
welcoming the thought, but you're not giving it space to be this like monster. You're giving it space to say like, oh, okay, here you are, and we're watching you
Right.
move through the house, out of the
Yeah.
house, and go on your way.
Yeah. And it kind of like removes the power of the thought, and it also teaches the client that it's okay that you're experiencing these thoughts, but it doesn't mean that the thought needs to hang around.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
the thought is just a thought. It's not who you are
exactly.
intrinsically about you. It's just a thought. We have a lot of thoughts
Yeah,
every day.
right, exactly. Yeah.
Love it. Okay, thank you, Drew. You are appreciate all your answers for the clinical part. And then
Yeah.
are you ready to be a little bit more seen personally of the being seen questionnaire that I share?
Yeah. I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we'll start easy. What's something that's making you happy right now?
What is something that's making me happy right now? Um, Sports season, celebrating with a lot of my patients. A lot of my patients are current and former athletes.
Right?
So this time of year is a lot of fun.
Mhm.
Um, Celebrating with them, holding space for them, and navigating a lot of different feelings, whether it might be states, starting training, um, anything of that nature. That's making me happy.
Love it. Yeah. Uh, okay, what's your favorite app?
My favorite app is probably the weather app.
I love that answer. Why do you love the weather app?
Just because it gets me prepared for the day.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
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 That's probably a weird answer, but that's my
No,
favorite right now.
I get it. I'm constantly checking the weather app, even from like a where's the wind going, how fast the wind's going,
Yes.
all the things you need to know. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, beach or mountains?
Beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like tropical beach or like any beach?
Probably coastal beach.
Uh,
I used to be a mountain guy, but ever since I moved to North Carolina, it's definitely I would say I'm a full-blown beach guy at this point.
fair. Fair.
Yeah.
Okay, what is one thing that movies never get right?
Time, um, length of time. I feel like now movies are so long that I haven't watched or seen a movie. I can't tell you the last time I saw a movie from this current age.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you also got that because I've never seen Harry Potter, but I can't sit through an hour like a 2.5 hour movie. I
Uh-huh.
need I need breaks incorporated into that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right. There has been a trend in the last few years, especially too. I've noticed like longer movies, and then you get these like 2-minute trailers that tell you the whole movie, anyways. And it's like, all right, well, I just saw the movie, so
yeah.
don't need to sit through that 2 hours. Okay, what is the best way to relax for you?
Activity,
Hmm.
um, being able to potentially even getting into flow state, but uh, yeah, whether it's working out, playing sports, golfing, or playing pickleball with my friends, activity. That's the best way for me to relax.
Makes sense why you work with athletes, right? You
Yeah.
enjoy that kind of more physical. Yeah. What about a dream trip location?
Hmm. Africa. Uh,
Hmm.
my wife and I got certified in scuba diving a year and a half ago, and I would love to scuba dive in Africa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where is there good scuba dive? I've never known that there's good scuba diving there. Where is good scuba diving?
There's a lot of sharks in
Yeah,
Africa.
that's what I think of when I
Yeah.
think of like South Africa. I think of like great whites.
Yeah, but right off any of the capes in Africa, I think that would be really, really incredible.
All right,
That's a dream vacation for me.
fair. Okay, cool. It sounds terrifying to me, but okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Um, okay, what advice would you give your younger self?
Um, what advice would as far as therapy wise, like becoming a
No, just
therapist?
in general. No, no, no. Nothing to do with therapy. Just generally speaking, like a younger version of yourself, adolescence age, kind of, what would you tell yourself?
This is going to be really weird, but don't be afraid to spend your money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Tell me more. What do you mean?
And I think don't be so cheap. I think I made a lot of mistakes in buying things that will not last a long time, thinking I was ultimately saving money. And I wish I was more willing to open up my wallet a little bit more
Mhm.
and buy things for longevity rather than something that I thought that was going to save me money ultimately.
Quality
Yeah.
over quantity.
Quality over quantity, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I,
I'm sure you've never heard that one, but
I, I have it, but I get it like on a personal level, it resonates with me.
yeah.
Like, my husband would tell you, like, because when we first started dating, he's like, "What are you spending on jeans?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but I'll buy jeans for like they'll last
Yeah.
a really long time."
Right.
You know, he's come around to my thinking there, but
That's funny.
but I can resonate with that answer for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, out of the four seasons, which one's your favorite?
Well, sorry.
Peppers, no worries.
Um, Four Seasons Fall.
Fall. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
For all the athletic stuff and the
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think in North Carolina, it's a lot more tolerable. It's pretty brutal in the summer, I will say. Yeah, it's pretty brutal here as far as like high 90s, mid 90s, as far as like being the highs. And then there's such a relief when it comes when that goes away and the humidity goes away. So I would say fall.
Fair enough, yeah.
Yeah.
And just out of curiosity, what's your pupper's name there?
Oh, Wibby, Wibby.
Would be. Would be
Yeah.
some sort of spaniel.
Yeah, no, he's a German short hair pointer.
Oh, a pointer. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Hard to see when oh
Yeah.
yeah, look at the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, pointer face for sure.
Oh yeah.
Okay, three more questions here. What
Okay.
would be the worst superhero power to have?
Being invincible,
Okay.
that would be the worst.
Why would that one be the worst?
Um, I don't know. Nobody would ever know that you're there.
Oh, invisible.
Oh, invincible. Yeah. Did I say invincible? Invisible. Yeah.
Invincible. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like invincible, you'd be like you can do anything.
Yeah.
But invisible, yeah, so you're just kind of not seen ever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
sounds like a good clinical response. Um, okay, what is an animal that resonates for you?
Animal like that represents just me as a person.
Yeah, kind of like when, I used to say spirit animal, but then somebody told me that people have take offense at that. So now I frame it in a different way.
Gotcha. Um, let's see. Is a is a golden retriever a bad answer?
No, there's no bad answer.
Yeah. Because I would say like I'm optimistic to a fault.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I would say golden retriever.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
love it. Love it.
Okay.
Do you have a golden retriever as well? And in
Oh
addition,
no. I was just thinking about like what because I've just been told I have a golden retriever personality. So I was just like that was the first thing that came to mind. Yeah.
okay, so final question. When you look back at your life, what do you hope you'll be able to say?
Um, that I was exhausted. That I hope at the end of my life that I can say like that I was exhausted and I didn't have any more energy.
Hmm.
Um,
That you kind of gave it all.
that I gave it all. Yeah, that's what I hope to say.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah,
Well, thanks,
yeah,
Drew. You are
yeah.
officially seen.
Awesome. Thank you. That, yeah. No, I appreciated that. Those were some good questions. I like that. I like the superhero question.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's an interesting, I think sometimes to hear a lot of clinicians, I will tell you, say mind reading. But
Oh,
you had a very clinical take as
yeah.
but so I will include your information for anybody who wants to get in touch with you, anybody who's listening or watching this right now. Uh,
Okay.
that said, Drew, is there anything that we didn't cover that you feel like it'd be good for the audience to know about you or your practice? We did cover a bunch of stuff, but is there anything else that comes to mind?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time and being willing to do this and participate. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, I had a blast. And yeah, if anybody is interested, I know you said that you'll include my information. So yeah, but if you ever need a repeat guest, just let me know.
Will do. Will do. Thanks so much, Drew. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
of course. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.